we create object without object reference? Yes. That type of object is called anonymous object. We can also call unreferenced object. Can we create object reference without object? Can we create object reference without object? That is only a question that I'm asking. We can create. What it contains? Null. Null. What is null? Object literal. Object literal. If there is no object, there is no hash code. If there is no hash code, null. Okay. This is about class and object introduction. Okay. Now about class, about object, just outlines completed. Outlines. Okay. Say, what is the word instance? Object is an instance of a class. Object is an instance of a class. What exactly word instance? I'll explain. See, I'll ask some more questions to understand that one. Suppose one building I'll show you. One building I'll show you. 10 plans I'll give. One building I'll show you. Suppose this building I'll show you. And 10 plans I'll give. This building, based on which plan constructed, can you identify or not? Yes or no? Building I'll show you. 10, 20 plans I'll give. This building based on which plan constructed? If I ask, can you identify or not? Yes. This building is an instance of that particular plan. That is the word instance. This building is an instance of that particular plan. Here also, here object is an instance of employee class. This object is an instance of student class. This object is the instance of department class, like that. The word instance is that one. So if I show object, this is object of which class? You can identify. This is a building. This building is an instance of which plan? You can identify that type. That is the word instance. Okay. See, this is about class and object outlines. Very depth, we'll see. First, what is class? Collection of variables and methods. Now, variables, very depth, I'll explain. Methods, very depth, I'll explain. Then class will be completed. So, next heading, variables. Note. Next heading, variables. Variables. First, I'll give notes. Write it. A variable is a container which contains data. A variable is a container which contains data. There are 3 types of variables in Java. First one, instance variables. Second one, class variables. Third one, local variables. There are 3 types of variables in Java. First one, instance variables. Second one, class variables. Third one, local variables. First one, instance variables. Note. There are 3 types of variables in Java. First one, instance variables. Second one, class variables. Third one, local variables. First, I'll give notes. After that, with the diagrams, I'll explain. Note. A variable that is defined as a member of a class is called as an instance variable. A variable that is defined as a member of a class is called as an instance variable. A variable that is defined as a member of a class is called as an instance variable. Memory allocated to instance variables whenever an object is created. Instance variables are stored in heap area. I'll explain. Write it. Second one, class variables. A variable that is defined as a static member of a class is called as class variable. Memory allocated to class variables whenever class is loaded. Class variables are stored in method area. Write this one. There are three types of variables. Not completed. About instance variables, about class variables are given. Next one, about local variables. Note down. A variable that is defined inside a method is called as local variable. A variable that is defined inside a method is called as a local variable. Memory allocated to local variables whenever method is called. Local variables are stored in stack area. Local variables are stored in stack area. Local variables are stored in stack area. Online students, what you are doing? Listen the class. Samir. See, three types of variables: instance variables, class variables, local variables. Note 1. Local variables cannot be static. No global variables in Java. That means outside the class. Local variables cannot be static in Java. No global variables in Java outside the class. Outside the class. Local variables cannot be static in Java. No global variables in Java. No global variables. Global variable means outside the class. Is it over? These all points I would explain. These all points I would explain. Say, what is class? Collection of variables and methods. Collection of variables and methods. That variables you are learning. Variables. Okay. Here, three types of variables are there: instance variables, class variables, local variables. Three types of variables are there. First of all, how to identify which is instance variable, which is class variable, which is local variable, I'll explain. After that, I'll explain when memory allocated, memory allocations I'll explain. After that, how to access them, I'll explain. After that, when we have to use instance variable, when we have to use class variable, when we have to use local variable, I'll explain. After that, what is the difference between these three, I'll explain. After that, life of the variables, scope of the variables. So many points are there. It will take 2-3 days. Only variables. 2-3 days it will take. Okay. Every point important only. Already I told you this topic is most important. Okay. You need to put efforts to understand. See, a variable is a container which contains data. Suppose integer a equal to 10 if you write. For a, memory allocated, in that memory 10 will be stored. A contains 10. So it is the container which contains data. That's what we are calling like this. A variable is a container which contains data. So A is a variable which contains 10. That's what it is called, variable container. We are calling as a container. Okay. There are three types of variables: instance variables, class variables, local variables. A variable that is defined as a member of a class. Member of a class is called instance variable. Static member of a class is called class variable. Inside a method, it is called local variable. Three types of variables. And memory allocated to instance variable whenever you create object. Memory allocated to class variable whenever class is loaded. Memory allocated to local variable whenever method is called. In the CPU, two memories will be there: RAM, ROM. Hard disk, RAM will be there. No, hard disk is permanent storage mechanism. RAM is temporary storage mechanism. So all operations are done in RAM only. Hard disk is later, if you want to store permanently, you require hard disk. But all operations are done in RAM only. Without RAM, we cannot work on computer. Without hard disk also possible, but without RAM we cannot work. Okay. Hard disk is just like a pen drive type only. It is permanent storage mechanism. But without RAM, we cannot work on computer. Every operation done in RAM only. Even when you switch on your computer, Windows operating system, hard disk to RAM, it will be loaded, no? That is only we are calling booting. When you switch on computer for getting desktop, it is taking time. Where is that Windows? It is inside the hard disk. Hard disk to RAM, it will be loaded. That is only we are calling booting. Okay. So Windows operating system also working in RAM only. It will be there in the hard disk. When you switch on computer, it will comes to RAM. All operations are done in RAM only. That RAM allocates a memory. Say, suppose here I opened browser. I opened Zoom software. I opened Notepad. 3 applications I opened. RAM, what will happen? Some memory allocated to browser. Some memory allocated to Zoom software. Some memory allocated to Notepad. Like that, while running Java program, some memory allocated to Java program. That memory we are calling like a JVM memory, Java Virtual Machine Memory. That memory divided into 5 blocks. In that, one is heap area, one more method area, one more stack area. 3. Remaining 2, you will see. I'll give. Next, write it. JVM memory. JVM memory divided into the following categories. First one, heap area. Second one, method area. Third one, stack area. Fourth one, PC registers, program counter. Fifth one, native stack area. Heap area, method area, stack area, PC registers, native stack area. JVM memory divided into 5 blocks. Heap area, method area, stack area, PC registers, native stack area. Instance variables stored in heap area. Class variables stored in method area. Local variables are stored in stack area. These two also I'll cover while teaching JVM architecture. What it contains, I'll cover further. Present, you are learning variables. You concentrate on variables only. About JVM memory, very depth I'll cover further. What this one contains, what this one contains. While teaching JVM architecture, I'll explain. For that, object-oriented programming, little bit knowledge required to understand JVM architecture. That is later I'll cover. Okay. Now, you observe about variables, these notes I given. This is I'm going to explain. I'll open Edit Plus. You observe. I'll write some variables. You observe. Integer a equal to 10. Static integer b equal to 20. Integer c equal to 30. Static integer d equal to 40. Integer e equal to 50. Static integer f equal to 60. Like this I given some other code. Now here total 6 variables I given. A, B, C, D, E, F. Okay, 6 variables. Now, how many types of variables in Java? 3 types. What are those? Instance variables, class variables, local variables. Okay. Say These all, if you remember, you can give answers while teaching logical code snippet. Otherwise, not possible. Say you have seen 16, 14 conversion, 19 conversion, 23 conversion. That is some technical code, technique I explain. With the technique, you can give answer. But here, no technique. All points, if you remember, possible. Otherwise, not possible. Okay. See, tomorrow only, you will see logical code snippet. At the time, you may give wrong answers if you forget. Here, many points are there, you observe. Many points are there. How to identify required, what is the difference required, what is the life required, what is the scope required, how to access them required, when we have to use instance variable, when we have to use class variable, when we have to use local variable. Instance variable place class variable, if you write, what will happen? Class variable place instance variable, if you write, what will happen? Like that also you have to learn. This is actual Java. Whatever you studied up to yesterday, day before yesterday, whatever you studied, just equal to C language. Yesterday, I started Java. Okay. Here, IT, non-IT, all students will be there. That is the reason C language related concepts also I taught. Okay. So, actual Java started yesterday. This topic, most important, every point you have to remember. Then only you can give right answers. Okay. Now, here, if you open mouth, if you give answer, you will remember. Otherwise, you'll forget. It will be happen. Okay. That is right or wrong, you check it out. Now, how many types of variables are there? What are those? Instance variables, class variables, local variables. Now, here total 6 variables I given. A, B, C, D, E, F. Now you observe. What is instance variable? A variable that is defined as a member of a class. So instance variable nothing but member of a class. What is class variable? Static member of a class. What is local variable? That is a variable that is defined inside the variable that is defined as a member of a class. Now, C is a member of demo class. C is a member of demo class. It is called instance variable. D is a static member of demo class. It is called class variable. Member of a class, instance variable. Static member of a class, class variable. But both are will write inside a class only. Okay. Inside a class, outside the method. It is main method. Outside the method, inside a class. It is instance variable. Just one keyword if you attach, it is called class variable. Now, it is instance variable, it is class variable. Inside a method is local variable. This is inside a method. Inside the main method, it is local variable. And note 1, local variables cannot be static in Java. So, this is static written. It is error in Java. You cannot write. One more. No global variables in Java outside the class. Outside the class, writing variables are not possible. This is also error. This is also error. Okay. Now, what is instance variable? Member of a class. It is a member of a class. So, it is instance variable. What is class variable? Static member of a class. It is called class variable. What is local variable? Inside a method. It is called local variable. What is given note 1? Local variables cannot be static in Java. It's an error. What I given note 2? No global variables in Java. That means outside the class. It is also error. It is also error. Right, Isam? Member of a class, instance variable. Static member of a class, class variable. Inside a method, local variable. Inside a method, we cannot write static. Outside the class, we cannot write variables. Static also error, non-static also error. Oh, is it over? Suppose if I give one Java project, already developed project, if I give in that project, which are instance variables, which are class variables, which are local variables, if I ask, can you identify or not? Possible, no? So, member of a class is called instance variable. Static member of a class is called class variable. Inside a method is called local variable. And inside a method, if you write static, error, not valid. Outside the class, if you write variables, not valid, error. Okay. So if I show one Java project, in that project, which are instance variable, which are class variable, which are local variable, if I ask, you can identify now. Okay. Identification completed. Okay. Now, which are not valid, I'll remove. Which are not valid, I'll remove. I removed. These three valid. These three valid. Say it is inside class, outside method. It is also inside the class, outside the method. It is inside the method. Okay. Now just I'll change the variable name, something X, here Y, it is Z. Suppose I'll change values also, suppose 10, 20, 30. Like this I changed. Now, if I execute this program, first of all, I'll ask some more questions to understand. This file name, test.java, is it valid or not valid? Valid or not valid? Valid. You can write. You already studied. 4 rules are there. What are the rules? Remembered or forgot? Remembered? What are the rules? A source file can have only one public class. Second rule, any number of non-public classes. Third rule, public class is there. File name, public class name must be same. Public class is not there. No restriction, any name. See how many people give an answer? Very few, no? So, here object-oriented programming purpose, every point important only. Okay, remember, don't forget. Now, here, a source file can have only one public class. In a one program, one public class only we can write. A source file can have any number of non-public classes. Non-public classes, n number of we can write. Third rule, if the source file contains public class, then file name must match with public class name. Suppose in your program public class is there, file name, public class name must be same. Suppose in your program public class is not there, then no restrictions. Now, in this program, any public class is there? No. That's what file name, whatever you want, you can write. It is valid. It is valid. Then how to compile this program? Give me answer. Java C. Test.java. You have to compile Java C test.java. How to run this program? Java demo or Java test? Java demo. So Java demo. Like this, you have to run. See, if we compile test.java, this is test.java compiled. Okay. This demo.class file generated. Here actually, whenever you compile test.java, what is generated? Demo.class. This class will run. Okay, we are running this one. See, these all, if you learn with Notepad or Edit Plus, you will get a more clarity. Suppose if you use Eclipse, MyEclipse, NetBeans, IntelliJ, if you use, what will happen? Compilation not required, automatically compiled. Then what is happening inside also you cannot understand. That is the reason, as a beginner, you should not use Eclipse, MyEclipse, NetBeans, IntelliJ, VS Code. There are so many IDs. As a beginner, if you use, what is happening backside you cannot see. After getting some knowledge, instead of typing by you, use IDs. But at the beginning only, if you start Eclipse, all those things, you will not get a skills. That is the reason, first you have to learn with Edit Plus only or Notepad. Okay. As a beginner, if you learn with Eclipse, main method line also automatically generated. You will forget about main method static also. That will be happen. Okay. That is the reason, after getting some knowledge, use. As a beginner, don't use. Suppose you are already working in a software company, use. That is not a problem. Already you are working on as a Java programmer or you are working. Because some people, they'll change the technology, then those people also will join. Those people can use, not a problem. Beginners, those are learning very first time Java. Those people don't use Eclipse. If you use Eclipse, very easy appears. Okay. But you will not get a skills. Okay. That's what Edit Plus I'm teaching. Now, test.java, you have to compile. Demo.class generated. Then Java demo. This demo nothing but this class. Whenever you run the program, first class loaded. Just now I given, whenever class is loaded, which variable memory allocated? Class variables. Memory allocated to class variables whenever class is loaded. Whenever you run this Java program, first demo class loaded. Then first this memory allocated. So that is called execution priority. Note down. Execution priority. First, class variables. Next, static blocks. Next, main method. First, class variables. Second one, static blocks. Next, main method. This is execution priority. So today, whatever I'm teaching, with that knowledge, tomorrow you have to give answers in code snippets. Okay. Yesterday, maximum theory completed. Today, variables you are learning. On this, I'll ask code snippets tomorrow. You have to give answer. Here, class variables, static blocks, main method. This one don't write. This program don't write. Okay. Now, at the command prompt, you will run Java demo. At the command prompt, you will run Java demo. Then demo class loaded. Then class variable memory allocated. So first this is executed. Because whenever class is loaded, class variable memory allocated. After this, static blocks. That is further comes. Static keyword, open brace, close brace. That is called static block. That in further comes. After that, main method executed. It is priority. First class variables, next static blocks, next main method. Say, when I run this program, first JVM will search for class variables. Suppose in your program class variables are not there, then it will search for static blocks. Suppose in your program static blocks also not there, then it will search for main method. In previous all programs, there is no class variable, there is no static block. Main method was there. That's what directly main method executed. Okay. So if I run the program, first JVM will search for class variables. Suppose in your program class variables are not there, it will search for static blocks. Suppose in your program static blocks also not there, then it will search for main method. Suppose in your program main method also not there, program not executed. Okay. So first class variable, next static blocks, next main method. You can write other methods from main method only or to call. That's what, if you want to run the program under operating system, main method is mandatory. It is compulsory. Okay. Now these all required. Now in our program, we have class variable, we have main method, but we don't have static block. Then what will happen? First this is executed, next this is executed. It is not there. It is priority. First this is, next this is, next this is. So here we don't have static block. That's what class variable, next main method. Now class variable executed, memory allocated to Y. Main method executed. Whenever method is called, local variable. We already written notes. When memory allocated to local variables, memory allocated to local variable whenever method is called. This memory allocated. Y memory allocated, Z memory allocated. But when memory allocated to X, when memory allocated to X, what is X? X is which type of variable? Instance variable. When it is allocated? Whenever. You have to remember, otherwise not possible. Once I'll ask questions, you see the notes and you answer. Otherwise it's not possible. Now, how many types of variables are there? 3 types. What are those? If you want, you can see the notes, but you answer. Because tomorrow class not possible otherwise. Today class only, you are not giving answer means tomorrow also not possible. It is concept to concept relation will be there. Okay. Now, how many types of variables? What are those? What is instance variable? Member of a class. What is class variable? Static member of a class. What is local variable? Inside a method. When memory allocated to instance variable? Whenever object is created. When memory allocated to class variable? Whenever class is loaded. When memory allocated to local variable? Whenever method is called. Instance variables in which memory block stored? Heap area. Class variables in which memory block stored? Method area. Local variables in which memory block stored? That is remember. Okay. Now, here X is which type of variable? Instance variable. When memory allocated? Whenever object is created. whenever object is created. Why which type of variable? Class variable. When memory allocated? Whenever a class is loaded. Z which type of variable? Local variable. When memory allocated? Whenever method is called. This X which memory block stored? Heap area. Why? Method area. Z stack area. That you remember. Now, demo class loaded. Class variable memory allocated. Main method called local variable memory allocated. But still memory not allocated to instance variable. When it is allocated? Whenever object is created. Yesterday, object creation syntax you studied. First, in a syntax, first what is there? Here, what is the class name? Demo. So about D1. What is D1? Object or object reference? Object reference, not a object. Remember. Okay. After that, new. After that, class name brackets. It is called constructor. Now, here first, what new executed? What is new? Dynamic memory allocation operator. This will allocate the memory to instance variable only. But yesterday I didn't explain instance variable, class variable, local variable. That is the reason just I given note only variable. Now write it. Next point. New is called as an instance variable. Sorry. New is called as dynamic memory allocation operator. New is called as dynamic memory allocation operator. And it allocates the memory to instance variables at runtime. New is called as dynamic memory allocation operator and it allocates the memory to instance variables at runtime. New is called as dynamic memory allocation operator and it allocates the memory to instance variables at runtime. New is called as dynamic memory allocation operator and it allocates the memory to instance variables at runtime. So it is called dynamic memory allocation operator. What it will do? It allocates the memory to instance variables at runtime. While running a Java program, allocated. While compiling the program, no memory. Okay, that's what runtime memory allocation operator. Okay. Now, this memory allocated. Constructor constructs the object. Object created. That object has code stored in D1. Same style. Suppose one more object I'll write. Then what will happen? Again memory allocated. If I create 10 objects, 10 times memory allocated. So this is every object separate copy created. But this is common to all objects. Irrespective number of objects, it is only one copy. It is separate copy for every object. Write that point. Separate copy of instance variable. Separate copy of instance variable. Separate copy of instance variable is created for every object. Separate copy of instance variable is created for every object. Only one copy of class variable created for all objects. Separate copy of instance variable is created for every object. Only one copy of class variable is created for all objects. Separate copy of instance variable is created for every object. Only one copy of class variable is created for all objects. Say, every employee, same employee number will be there or different employee number? At that time, we have to use instance variable. Separate copy required. For all employees, same code required. Then class variable. Suppose same for all people, same requirements, class variable. Different requirements, instance variable. Now I'll give some variables, whether instance variable record or class variable record, you can give answer. Possible. Employee number, which variable required? Instance variable. Employee name, employee address, company name, class variable. For all employees, company name same will be there. At that time, we have to use class variable. Student roll number, student name, student address, student mobile number, student mail ID, college name, university name, like that. Like that, we have to select. If it is every object separate copy required, instance variable. Only one copy required, class variable. Common to all, at the time, class variable. When we have to do local variable, also I'll explain. Now, like that, we have to select. Now, separate copy of instance variable is created for every object. Only one copy of class variable is created for all objects. Okay. Next, write it. Use instance variable use class variable if the value is same for all objects. Use local variable to perform the task. Use local variable to perform the task. Use instance variable if the value is different for every object. Use class variable if the value is same for all objects. Use local variable to perform the task. Suppose employee number, which variable? Instance variable. Employee name, employee salary. Now, bonus 10% salary. Bonus is 10%. Local variable to perform the task. You want to calculate bonus. 10% bonus. 10% first salary required, no basic salary. With the basic salary, 10% you are calculating. That is task. Task is there local. Like that you have to select. But by mistake instance variable, if you select, what will happen? I'll explain. Now, if any calculation is there, if any task is there, local variable. Okay. Suppose student roll number, student name, student C language marks, C++ marks, Java marks, total marks. What is it? Local variable, total. You are calculating, no? C marks, C++ marks, Java marks, you are calculating. Calculation is there. Task is there. Local. Like that you have to select. Okay. Otherwise, why these three? All one variable possible, no? I'll show you how much difference is there in internet application. I'll show you. Okay. Like otherwise, all local variables you can write everything. You can write program. You can bring the output. What will happen? Instance variable plus class variable plus local variable plus instance variable. If right, what will happen? I'll explain. That is, we'll see it tomorrow, day after tomorrow. It is not going to complete variable today. 3 days required minimum. Minimum 3 days required to complete variables. Okay. Task is there local. Different value for every object. Instance. Same value for all objects. Class variable. Now, here, it is just a code snippet. It is not a complete program. Now you observe here. It is method area. It is stack area. Don't write. I'll give time for writing. Listen with more concentration. See how much difference is there when object-oriented programming has started. Whatever you studied previous class is different from here onward, complete different. No? So here, listen with more concentration. Demo class loaded. Open brace executed. Now this line executed first because just now I given priority. Class variables. Next, static blocks. We have class variable. So Y memory allocated. Stored by in class variable, which memory block stored? Method area. So stored. Okay. Here Y variable. Class variable memory allocated in method area. After that, main method called local variable. Local variable where it is stored? Stack area. Z. In this line, new executed. What is new? Dynamic memory allocation operator. What it will do? It allocates a memory to instance variable. Which is instance variable? X. X. It is inside the object. Demo object. Here, after creating, here demo D1. First, data type. What variable? What is demo? What is D1? That is clear now. Already studied how many categories of data types are there. Int, long, float, double, char, boolean. Those are primitive data types. What are reference data types? Arrays, strings, classes, interfaces, dash dash, etc. Now, class, can I call data type? Class, can I call data type? Yes or no? What are reference data types? Arrays, strings, classes, interfaces. Class also data type, no? Now, don't write program, don't write diagram. Write this point. Class is also called as reference data type. Class is also called as reference data type. Don't write program, don't write diagram. That point, write it. Class is also called as reference data type. Whenever class is called as data type, then object reference is called variable. So write it. Object reference is also called as reference variable. Object reference is also called as reference variable. Class is also called as reference data type. Object reference is also called as reference variable. Class is also called as reference data type. Object reference is also called as reference variable. Now, what is int? What is jet? What is demo? Class. What is D1? Object reference. Can I call data type? Can I call variable? Yes. Is it primitive data type or reference data type? It is primitive type variable or reference type variable? Primitive type variable. Is it reference data type or primitive type? Reference data type. Is it primitive type variable or reference type variable? Reference type variable. Primitive type variable contains data. Reference type variable contains hash code. That point note down. Primitive type variable contains data, whereas reference type variable contains hash code. Primitive type variable contains data, whereas reference type variable contains hash code. Primitive type variable contains data, whereas reference type variable contains hash code. Primitive type variable contains data, whereas reference type variable contains hash code. Primitive type variable contains data, whereas reference type variable contains hash code. Now, X. What is X? Variable. Instance variable. Y is a class variable. Z is a local variable. That is clear. Now, D1. What is D1? Object reference. Object reference can I call variable? Yes. Is it primitive type variable or reference type variable? Reference type variable. Now, my question is it instance variable or class variable or local variable? It is also variable, no? This is also one type should be there, no? Is it instance variable or class variable or local variable? What is that? Local variable inside a method. Now it is local variable. Where it is going to be stored? Stack area. Here D1 stored. Here D1 stored. This contains this object hash code. One more time new. Again dynamic memory allocation operator allocates the memory to instance variable X. Constructor constructs the object. Constructs the object. This object referred by D2. See here, you observe X is a instance variable stored in heap area. Y is a class variable stored in method area. Z is a local variable stored in stack area. D1, D2 also local variables stored in stack area. Now, in a program, X appears one only. But how many X's are there in memory? 2. This depends upon number of objects, number of copies. This is one copy for all objects. This is while calling method allocated, deallocated. That type. You will see further that one. First, like this, memory allocated. Write this program, write this diagram. It is not complete program, only code snippet. Write this code, write this diagram. Don't forget, for tomorrow class, it is required again. If you learn like this, later any Java program you can write. Any Java program you can write. You will get a more clarity in tomorrow class. Write the code, write the diagram. See, first demo class loaded, open brace executed, static int y equal to 20, class variable memory allocated. It is stored in method area. Next, main method called z memory allocated, stored in stack area. Now, X memory allocated whenever object is created. Two objects are created. That's what 2 times memory allocated. New allocates a memory to instance variable X. Constructor, objects constructed. But D1, D2 also variables. These are local variables stored in stack area. This object hash code stored here. This object hash code stored here. Okay. Those who didn't understand also, no need to worry. Tomorrow you'll get a more clarity. With that, you'll understand. Tomorrow you will see